What's the strangest thing you've ever been caught doing? One time my girlfriend and I had just left the house. She then remembered she needed something and went back in. Now, our house, Golders Green, London, was semi-detached with the neighbor's house. The neighbor's motorbike was kind of in our shared front yard. Since I was waiting for my girlfriend, I decided to sit on the motorbike. I heard the front door of the house close behind me, so, trying to be funny for my girlfriend, I leaned over the tank of the motorbike and started pretending to rev the throttle and making vroom, vroom motorbike noises. Like, really getting into it. I didn't hear any laughing, so I turned around and it was actually my neighbor standing there with this WTF look on his face. It was 3 AM and 15-year-old me was taking a crap and got a bloody nose. Now for context, I get real bad nosebleeds and usually just keep my head up and it goes away. Well, I was bored. So I thought, what if I just keep my head down and let it drip? I know, very stupid. Blood was all over the floor. I had every intent to just clean it up with tissues and flush it. No evidence of my little experiment. What I didn't know was that my mum was actually awake and was waiting for me to finish in the toilet for her turn. I didn't lock the door because it was 3 AM and I didn't think I needed to. Well, she opens the door. Semen Demon 16, why are you taking so well? She sees the blood, starts freaking TF out. Thinks I'm either dead or dying. I start yelling trying to explain myself. Mum starts crying thinking she's gonna lose her son. My sister walks out her room from the crying and the yelling. Sees the blood. Freaks TF out as well. After a bit of panic I eventually explained my stupid experiment. I cleaned it up and we all went to bed. But I don't think anybody slept after that traumatic experience. When I was around 10 years old I was getting curious about sex, so I decided to look it up in the dictionary. Wouldn't you know it, my ultra-conservative mother walks in the room, so I try to play it off like I was looking up the Gila Native American tribe. She called me out for being in the S's, but I doubled down and pretended I was possibly dyslexic. What a tangled web I wove. Oh man. So I must have been about 12. I was in the car with my mom. To set the scene, it was a 3-row soccer mom van and I was in the second row behind the passenger seat with my mom driving. Well, since I was 12 I got my random hormone boner. Strange and awkward enough, right? Well, I decided that I would pretend I was driving and that my boner was a stick shift. Mom caught me. I was in standstill traffic, i.e. car had been turned off. People were loitering outside of their cars, and I had a baby squirrel that I was hand rearing in my car. I fed it some puppy milk formula from a bottle, looked up and realized I had an audience of about 20 people gawking at me. I was 14 getting it on with my hand and surround sound headphones. My dad walks in on me half asleep and mumbles, "What are you doing, boy?" and shuts the door, but then comes back in to verify what he's witnessed and has the audacity to say, "You playing with your meat?" In 3rd grade, I went to the bathroom, and thinking I was alone, put my hands against the wall, leaned forward, and let out a long gigantic fart. Afterwards I let out a nice big sigh of relief and pleasure. I turn around that some other kids had come in as I was releasing that massive fart. Did not look them in the eyes as I left edit. Just to clarify due to comments, it's not the fart that was strange, no matter how long it may have been. It's the hands against the wall, prepping my body to let it rip, and moaning ooh afterwards. As a pet sitter, sometimes you get lonely when the majority of your interactions are with animals. So, to combat this, I sometimes pretend to be the inner voice of whatever dog I'm walking, responding out loud to whatever they're sniffing or whatever grabs their attention. Each dog has his her own weird voice as well. More than once people have walked around a corner to hear me doing this. I go house to house scooping dog poop and do something similar. Often dogs will bark and give me looks, so I respond by barking, but thinking what I would say so they can understand. At the same time I'm translating what they are saying. If anyone came outside it would just be me and a dog barking at each other. 1. I was like 13 or 14 in my room alone, my window wide opened, when I started to wonder if I ever got kissed what the other person would be seeing from their perspective. So I went up to my closet, which had those floor-length mirrors, and I started kissing the mirror, opening my eyes every once in a while to see if I looked at all attractive doing this. One of those times I opened my eyes, I saw my brother outside my wide open window through the mirror looking at me with such a confused look on his face. I screamed and fell to the floor and hid in my room for a while. 2. I was a kid and creeped out by cousin's creepy doll. One morning me and the doll were alone in her room and I grabbed the doll and started to shake it, and while I was yelling at it that I knew it could talk, my cousin walked in and was like, "What are you doing?" And I brought the doll close to me and caressed it and said I was just kidding. She kept the doll away from me after that. Walking across the road to the dumpster with a bag of trash. One arm pulled into my hoodie, flapping it like a wing, and slowly moving forward while going in circles. Saying to myself, flying in circles, realizing that I was not circling in the right direction for the wing I had and reversing to circle opposite wise. Saying flying in circles the wrong way, come back inside and find that my whole family had been watching me. Was at the driveway at Wendy's and had exact change. As I was switching the money one hand to another, the quarter slipped in between my legs and I went to grab it, but it slipped down further and the guy comes to the window as I have one hand full with cash and the other hand in between my legs trying to grab the quarter. He looked at me and said, "I'm not even going to ask," and I just said the quarter fell between my legs. I have exact change. I got it and handed it to him, pulled up to the next window to get my food, and it said it what he thought he saw me doing. So embarrassing. This would have been a lot more weird if he sniffed the quarter afterward. I picked up a pizza, was super excited to eat it, so I put it in the passenger seat and said something along the lines of, "I'm gonna take you home and duck you up," hyping myself and the pizza up, of course. I then saw that my window, and the window of the next car was open. A woman watched and heard me talk dirty to a pizza. Another time I accidentally made eye contact with a woman while I was licking my lips after taking a sip of an Arizona tea, and she looked extremely offended by that. That was all in her head though, I'm still in denial. I was called in to assist my wife with putting together a friend's baby shower when her helper bailed at the last minute. My job was to prep the dirty diaper game, which, if you've not heard of it, is played like this. An assortment of name brand candy bars and chocolates are unwrapped and then mushed into a diaper so as to resemble a baby's dirty diaper. The game participants then assess the contents of each dirty diaper and have a guess at what candy bar might be lurking within. Whoever has the most correct answers wins. Now, seeing that I was called in at the last minute, I had to complete the task while at work. So there I was, in my office, 15 or so diapers laying open on my desk, sleeves rolled up, hurriedly rolling what appeared to be a gooey, nutty turd in my hands, when my boss walks in. We make eye contact. He glances at my work, looks at me as though I am dangerously unstable, then slowly steps back out of the office without saying a word. We've never spoken of it. I wanted to try to drink like a dog. I put a bowl on the floor and filled it with Fanta. My dad walked into my room where I was kneeling on the floor with my tongue in the bowl. He has never mentioned it since. Edit. So this kind of blew up. I'm literally so new to Reddit that I never expected this. I think I should clarify because so many people have assumed I am a girl. I'm glad so many people found this funny. It actually makes me really happy. Edit 2. Because so many people have asked me. I was 14 or so. Edit 3. It was normal orange Fanta. My sister asked why I kept texting so much and it's because I was responding to all of you. I told her about the question and she asked me, "Did you tell people about that time you were caught drinking like a dog?" So apparently she knows about it and has never mentioned it to me. I asked her how she knew that's what my answer was and she said she thinks about it all the time and it's the most bizarre thing I've ever done. This has been a fun experience. My friends and I did some questionably gay pranks back in the day as pubescent boys. Moon in front of the TV screen, stuff like that. One day I snuck into my friend's room. He had glass doors to the front yard, and got ready. I got naked and put on a sombrero, and equipped my pecker in the wide end of a vuvuzela. Laid in his bed in wait. Few minutes later his mom walks in during a family function. I was mortified. She either didn't notice or just ignored it and walked out. Was I caught? Too afraid to ask.